Hey folks, this is part 2 of the Fine Skill Miniatures kits hidden on George's layout. Accidentally hit the stop button on the camera, so let's get back to it. The aisles are a little bit tight. There's quite a few people here today, so pardon any shakiness. Here's a kit I just purchased, Franklin Watchworks. I'm ready to build this kit. It'll be going on my layout, and to see it in person on George's layout is such a treat to be able to see this. This is the back side of the structure, or I should say the side of the structure. This structure juts out in an L shape, and it's just a very interesting scene. I have this kit to build as well. This is Baxters. This came with the big shed here, the center building, and the small offices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structures. This is a really impressive kit. I believe this is called Baxters. Just an unbelievable gem for anyone. Again, it comes with those 2 structures. The main structure here and the large shed and extension. Obviously the vehicles and figures do not come with the kits, but the amount of detail castings that come on these kits is absolutely the best in the business. All his kits come packed with detailed metal castings. Here's Elijah Roth & Sons. That was a kit that he had came out with, packed with the details you would expect. Never seen it from the angle here, and that's an interesting perspective. Cartwrights. This is Cartwrights. It came with a wheel, a water wheel. Let me show you the water wheel. Folks, there's the water wheel that Cartwrights came with. It also came with stone castings for the base, so it's a very interesting structure. Cartwrights. George made this kit twice. He made this kit in the early 70s. It's John Allen 2-stall engine house, and he came out with it again, I believe, in the 80s. It's kit 135, I believe, which is the improved 2-stall engine house. It was a John Allen design, and it is just a beautiful, beautiful 2-stall engine house kit. The John Allen 2-stall engine house. He also made a version of this kit with other buildings called the John Allen Special. This is one of his last kits, the Hayes and Boyd kit. I believe it's called the Hayes and Boyd building. Came with that auxiliary shed. This building, really interesting structure. I wish I could get a picture of the back end of it, but I simply can't. One of his best looking buildings. George came out with a sawmill kit 140, and he came out with another larger sawmill kit 170, and this one is one of the sawmill kits that he kind of did a little bit extra design on. Changed it around and added a water tank, some extension sheds on the sides. Now if you want to see what the actual sawmill kits look like, you can Google Fine Scale Miniatures Sawmill Kit 140, or you can Google Fine Scale Miniatures Sawmill Kit 170, and you can see what the kits look like. They're very easy to change and scratch build, and they're also very easy to modify and make additions to. So although this is not the exact kit, the kit is very close to this, so I thought I'd film this. And this is the I Am Done building, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4 structures. This was, I believe, the last kit George came out with right before he retired, called I Am Done, D-U-N-N, I believe. Very impressive. This kit here is the Abrams Bakery kit. This is a beautiful kit he came out with. showing you the front of the kit, and I'll show you the side there, a side view of the kit. And it also came with the building back here. Let me see if I can hone in on it. This little building back in the corner here, it also came with the Abrams kit. Abrams Bakery, just a really beautiful building. This is a Seawell's foundry that George came out with. Stone building with an extension. It's one of his past kits, Seawell's foundry. And here is Jeffrey's Point, again, one of his favorite kits that I've always loved. Folks, I hear a train. Let's catch it. Let's catch it as it goes by. Jeffrey's Point is a triangular-like building, which is the one in the center here. It's shorter width-wise in the back than it is in the front. Let me, again, pan around and take some different angles of this kit. It's just absolutely stunning. Jeffrey's Point. Here's a shot of Jeffrey's Point from the side, folks. There's a lot of detail packed around it, so I really can't get four-corner shots, but nevertheless, it is absolutely beautiful. Another ground view of the Franklin Watchworks kit. Here's a ground view of the Baxters Complex kit.
Explains how that got there.
More kits, folks. This is Bailey's Produce. George did this, obviously, in HO scale. Bar Mills offers this by permission in O scale. But this obviously is the HO scale version. Bailey's Produce. Another one of George's kits. Again, this video is all of his past kits. Next to it is a Butcher's Complex. And it came with the barn and the office building, and it came with the center Wolcott meat facility and the holding pen for the poor cows ready to become Burger King hamburgers. Beautiful complex. Not quite sure of the name of this kit, but if you look on eBay or Google it, you'll see what it is. It's the Butcher's Complex. Duffys Coal is this kit. It's beautiful. Came with the complex and the two office buildings. I believe this is Duffys Coal. Just a really, really interesting structure. Builds into an incredible scene. This is the old Ice House kit that was based on a John Allen design, I believe. George added this shed on the end and this platform. The kit itself was just the ice facility without the shed on the right. Again, George added the shed on the end and this offloading platform, but the kit itself you see here is the ice dock, one of two George made back in the early days as a kit. Alright folks, this is Oatman's Mercantile. This was, I was a little confused at the bottom of the bridge, the trestle bridge. I thought that kit at the bottom was Oatman's. It was similar to this, but this is the actual kit. Oatman's came with the shed you see here and the the facility here. Really, really interesting. Scene. Here's a treat, folks. Beautiful rolling stock on this layout. Absolutely beautifully weathered. This is one of his earlier kits. It came with a lumber yard. This is the office building for it. It escapes me what kit this is, but it came out in the 70s, I believe. And it came with a lumber shed as part of the kit. George has separated the lumber shed, doesn't have space for it. Instead of having a lumber shed to the right, he chose to put this beautiful gas station, which is not a kit, but it's one of George's creations, on the right-hand side. This kit is Duffys Coal. Duffys Coal. It's hard to get the different views of Duffys Coal simply because it is tucked away, but that was one of kits George had, Duffys Coal. Really, really cool building. That came with the shed for lumber here. And you can put the shed on the side of the building or jutting out the back of the building. And again, this is the front of the building, Duffys Coal. This is Starkey Coal, I believe Starkey Coal. This came out back in the 80s. I've always wanted this kit but never got around to buying it. Absolutely beautiful. It came with the coal yard and it came with some office buildings. Just a really cool coal building. Starkey Coal, I believe, is the name of this. And there's the office building that it came with. Now the vehicles did not come with the kit. Duffys Brewery is one of his kits. I have this kit to build on my layout. This was a meat brewery. Duffys. Chippy Hollow. This kit came with a loading ramp. I'm not showing the loading ramp on this. George put Isaiah Shalom building there rather than the loading ramp, but this kit I have on my layout, Chippy Hollow, and this is the stone building without the loading ramp. This is another shot, I believe, of the Hayes and Boyd kit. Absolutely spectacular. This is the side we could not see. You can build this many different ways. I believe it's called the Hazelton Boyd Flour Mill. Again, you can get on Google and Google the Fine Scale Miniatures kits and get the correct name for it, if I'm mistaken. These are available on the secondary market for sale. Let me show you some different versions of this build that you can do out of the same kit. Folks, here's another way that kit can be built. I believe you can paint it white, you can paint it any color you want, you can stain it any color you want, but this is essentially the same kit, built a little bit differently. A little bit different take on the roof, a little bit different take on the color. But it gives you an idea that you don't have to build it the way it says. And speaking of kits, this is one of George's stations that he came out with some time ago. Um, just a beautiful station. I don't know the name of it, but again, it can be Googled and you can find it on the secondary market for sale as a kit. Here is another shot of an I Am Done complex that George did as his final kit. It did not come with the vehicles, but it does come with all the detail castings. The figures in detail, the figures and the vehicles are extra. This is the kit. Had the 1, 2 buildings, 3 buildings, and the coal loading facility. It's another one of George's kits. I actually have this kit. Again, I don't remember the name of it, but it's similar to Cartwright's. It's just an incredibly neat little building. Beautifully done in George's layout. I believe this is another version of the Oatman Mercantile building. So George sometimes has more than one version of his kit on the layout. Here's an interesting take on the 2-stall engine house. George put a shed on the side of it, a little loading shed. Give you a different perspective of it. This coal tower is not a Fine Scale Miniatures kit, but it is a Walthers kit that George did up with his beautiful weathering and changed the roofing to roll roofing and shingle and beautifully painted the building. And again, it's a Walthers coaling station that George had done up. And of course the engine house here, the roundhouse, is scratch built. It is not a kit. This was one of the water tank kits George came out with in later years. He had a water tank and tool shed kit that was similar to this without the tower. This one is a later version of a water tank and tool shed with a auxiliary office next to it. This was one of the later kits. Here's another version of the Hazelton Boyd building that we looked at. One was white, one was brown. This one is more of a driftwood-like color. Many different ways to build this. Many different ways. Again, folks, this video was basically showing you a lot of the older Fine Scale Miniatures kits that George has on the layout. And although I don't have the name of these kits and the number of the kits, a simple YouTube search, if you go to YouTube, Fine Scale Miniatures Kits, on my channel, you can see some of these kits with their corresponding numbers and names. And you can also Google images of Fine Scale Miniatures kits on the computer and get the names and the version models, the number runs, how many were made. And if you check eBay, for example, a lot of these are for sale as unbuilt kits on the used market. And a lot of them are already built too, that occasionally you see on eBay and on other venues for model railroad things for sale. Thanks for watching the channel.